email about the list, so I can bring it up in my work email on my phone.
Okay.
You don't have to like type anything, just like reply and send, so that way I can see the hands.
We should be live, sir.
We are live. I'm on the stream.
Nice.
You like type anything, just like reply and send, so that way I can see the. There we go. The hands. Our beautiful screen.
We should be live, sir.
We are live. I'm on the stream.
Nice.
You like.
So that kind of stunk. Okay, so I've got to do something I don't really want to do, but I've got to do it. So
What's not working?
nothing. We're good. I don't know if we have any viewers yet or not.
We do. Cowboy Hat Valor, Darth Buckets, and Part 5 off ear.
Excellent.
And it looks like SC Want is lurking in the background too.
Excellent. All right.
Alright, I see the timer. There we go. It's nice and centered now.
Yeah, it's gonna mess up a little.
It disappeared.
Yep. All right. So interesting situation. We'll be all right though. All right. So I know we're officially live. I need to pull up the chat here.
Showing 13 viewers.
Awesome. Glad everybody's tuning in.
I'm pretty happy about that. We got Kennedy Hawk, Sellout 23, and El Rathian joining us now.
Nice.
In addition to the people that are lurking that are not signed in.
Alright, so I'm going to load up some chat here. We're going to start to kick things off here in just a minute. We just wanted to send out some notifications, get everything going, so we can make sure we had everything up and running, right? Twitch is like acting really slow for me, so I apologize everybody. I'm trying to get this chat up and working. Alright, so Twitch is like hating me for some reason.
You can't look the chat?
I can't see the chat, like it just isn't loading. It might have loaded now. There we go. Wow, we got a ton of people in here. Awesome.
I now see 16 viewers.
Great. Alright, so
So it has exceeded it has exceeded my first day expectations.
Cool.
I figured we'd get like 13-ish.
Alright everybody, so welcome to the first episode of Living Force Cast. This is Flip. We got TGO today.
Howdy.
And this is our first little run through, if you will. This is completely live and unscripted. So if you guys will give us a little bit of leeway, I suppose, we might say some really stupid things.
That is bound to happen.
I did just get an email that TGO is following the Living Force cast, so that's awesome.
I am a follower.
And then I am just pulling up our final list here.
Wow, 20 viewers.
Great.
That's awesome.
Should probably get things kicked off.
Yes. We're about 10 minutes behind.
Not behind.
It's the first run, so there's going to be some kinks.
There you go. All right, so let's see. You said Scum spoilers. Scum players are ravenous. This is awesome. Yes, there are going to be Scum spoilers, but first we're going to kick things off. Every week we are going to go over 10 topics that we think are worth covering. And here on the Living Force cast, we have our nice little 5-minute timer that is only showing that doesn't look correct.
I don't even see the timer.
There we go. It'll show up in a second.
Okay, I'll take.
All right. So we have a 5-minute countdown timer. What we're gonna do is we have a list of topics we're gonna talk about, but we're only gonna spend 5 minutes on each topic, and just kind of give our thoughts on what would we say these are gonna cover. Kind of basically some hot button topics on the forums, some things we think are worth talking about.
Yep.
Awesome. All right. So the listeners can't see our 5-minute timer, but it is up and running. And you see it? All right. Good. And with that, I think we're ready to kind of kick things off. So let's see how this works. All right, so you guys should now be seeing our 10 topic images, and TGO, I'll let you kick things off with our very first topic.
So our first topic today, Boba Fett. Did he become more relevant with his ability? Is his ability more relevant? Because the 4 health, freeloaders, 3 health dash, etc.
You're not going to believe this. I've got somebody at my door. I have to stop the cast.
Seriously?
That's so awesome.
If by awesome he meant awful, that's funny. Wow, these are some nice little images he come up with. So you guys kind of see what we're going to talk about.
All right. And we're back.
Okay. Restart that timer.
All right. I don't think it ever started, so we're good.
Okay, good. So Boba Fett, is he more relevant now? I'll let you jump in first.
I guess the real question is with freeloaders and dash and these guys that are seen more harder to kill units, I guess would be the easiest way to say it. Is someone like Boba Fett more relevant? I don't think so. I think his 2 health is still bad, and I think his pod is still bad. So, would I run him? Probably not. Maybe if Scum gets some really sweet stuff, that would somehow make his pod better. But I would venture no. I would not run him. I would venture no. I don't think he is that great right now. I don't know. What are you jump in here and save me because I'm just rambling about Boba Fett being bad.
I'm on the fence about him. I think his ability is very relevant. His health is a very big concern. Obviously, you know, the 4 health freeloaders, being able to hit them for 1 and capturing them, it's a good way to get them off the board. The key is going to be keeping Boba Fett around, and getting his armor on him is going to be a big part of it too, because then you can pick and choose kind of where you want to go with the targeted strike.
I gotta jump in. So Sellout 23 says no freeloaders will one-shot him if they win edge.
The key is going to be protecting him, and I think with Mara having a protector now, you've got 2 sets with protectors. Maybe that's enough. I haven't tested it yet, so I'm not for certain, but it's entirely possible that it could be a thing. And I do agree that his set is not the greatest, but if you're pairing him with Mara's set, you've got the blaster in there, which helps her get a little bit more blasters for her targeted strike. I mean, I don't necessarily know if that's good, bad. I mean, it seems kind of okay. So
I don't know. I think his 2 health is a huge liability, and I think the fact that his objective set doesn't give you enough cards to help you actually, win the game. I think there's just better dark side objective sets. I think is the real the real like we threw Boba Fett in here, but really we could have said things like is Lord Vader's command good now? There's kind of a lot of stuff, right, that is making us reevaluate older sets. Boba's obviously being one of them, and his capture mechanic is great, but is the real problem like one freeloader that Boba Fett would deal with, or is it that they can land multiple freeloaders? You know what I mean?
No, I definitely agree. But I mean, I don't think it's something like you should just look at and be like, oh, 2 health. No, I'm just going to write it off. I think it's definitely something worth looking into and confirming for yourself.
So where would you? I guess I would start with him and Bosk in like a Sith control deck.
Yeah, I mean, definitely him. Bosk is a good one because he can sort of deal with the freeholders by just capturing them. I would go with Mara and the Emperor set as well.
Yeah, I mean, his enhancement gives him targeted strike. Mara's got targeted strike with just committed or with her enhancement, so that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, it could be something. It probably won't be, but time will tell.
Yeah, I get what you mean. We've got just a minute left, so I guess my final 30 seconds or so on this would be, it's probably worth testing around with, but I think in the long run, you're just going to find that you're going to put a very cumbersome objective set into your deck that when it sees Boba Fett and if he lives, you'll be really happy. But when they play Chewbacca and let the Wookiee win, you're going to be really sad.
Yeah, the general consensus in the comments is that it's probably not a good plane to be on.
So what's your final 30? Here you go.
Final 30? Well, I'm probably not going to last for 30 seconds, but I'll look into it. I don't have high hopes for it. Maybe I get it to go 1 or 2 times. Who knows? I'm not, like I said, I don't have high hopes for it. It was just, something worth looking into. So,
the capture ability, right?
The capture ability, that is correct.
Because we're seeing that there's just a harder way. It's just harder to deal with these type of units right now for Darkseid.
Correct. This just kind of cheats doing 4 damage, so.
Very true. All right. That is our time there. I've got to figure out how I can. There we go. All right. Apparently there's some ads on there. All right. So next topic. We'll cross Boba Fett off the list there, and I'll let you start this one.
Okay, this one is, we're going to take a look at Hoth Gambit, which is the set from Knowledge and Defense that was spoiled by another podcast. What impact will this have on light side Hoth decks? I actually think it's going to be good for light side Hoth decks. Riken, every time, I believe it's when you refresh, you remove a damage from a Hoth objective.
Yeah, there's a lot of tricks in there. I don't have it in front of me.
Yeah, and I really like the objectives because it does a good job of allowing those decks to either take the Force back or keep the dark side from taking the Force to begin with, especially on the first turn. So it could help generate some extra damage. And there seem to be some pretty decent cards in there, other than just Riken and the objective.
I think it's, outside of Rogue 3, I think it's looking to be probably the strongest light side Hoth objective set. I want to say Rogue 3 and Wedge are probably going to be, more powerful, just in terms of, like, in a vacuum, if you will. But compared to anything else that's out, I think the Hoth Gambit is incredibly good. I'm sorry, anything else related to the Hoth objectives, I guess.
In my opinion, I think it's probably the second best Hoth set.
For
Rebels. For Rebels.
Yeah, first being
Hoth Ops.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, if you're just looking at the whole Hoth theme as a whole, then it might be third best, because I definitely think Prepare for Evac is the best.
Yeah.
And Hoth Ops, maybe Mobilize Renegade Squadron is up in there before it. Well, I guess that would be, but you don't really see that in a deck with. Well, then again, you might now. It's hard to say. I mean, I really think Hoth Gambit is good for them. So I'm excited.
I just personally, I think that what you're going to see is like a big kind of quick rejuvenation of Hoth decks, which I think is a good thing. I think it's really cool because we really haven't revisited those decks in quite a while. I mean, I was on a Hoth deck at Worlds, but here you have something that is, it's months later. I mean, we're looking at 8 or 9 months after, the Hoth cycle ended or came to a close, if you will. And now we're getting a objective set that basically says, oh, by the way, remember that old style of play you used to have? You should revisit it now. I think it's really cool. I think it's really exciting. I can't wait to try out some Hoth decks with it. Whether or not it's going to be any better than Freeloaders or Sleuth Scouts, I have no idea.
I mean, I'm excited about Riken himself.
Yeah.
4 resources, 2 tactics, shielding. His reaction is really good, and he's got 3 health. That's a pretty solid unit.
They've also got a removal spell in there now.
Yeah.
And it's a great removal spell. It's probably the best removal spell there is for light side, except that it doesn't hit objectives, which is a bit of a bummer. So Rebel Assault might still hold that title, I guess.
Yeah, Rebel Assault is just like a multi-purpose card. This is only half, so I mean, it's still a really good card, and it's got 2 Force icons, so at best it's a really good edge card. Plus you get the Battle of Hoth in it. Yeah. I think this is a pretty solid set. And it's got a resource. I mean, it's a Tauntaun, but still, a resource is a resource.
Right. No, I don't actually have an issue with Tauntauns. It's a bummer that it can be force choked, but I'm okay with them. I mean, they're not the greatest light side resource, but they're not. Well, maybe they are the worst. No. I won't say they're the worst light side resource.
Clearinghouse. Excuse me.
But all in all, I really think that Hoth Gambit is, a great concept, a great objective set from what I've seen. But I'll let you start with the final 30 on this one.
I've said all that I can really say. I mean, it's just a really solid set. So go ahead and take the final.
So I guess just to revisit what I already said, I think that you're going to see a lot of players go back and revisit Hoth, which I think is awesome. And I think you're going to have a lot of players that are going to find some really cool things to do that haven't been done in a while. Preparation for battle hasn't seen much play in the last year-ish. And the thought that could come back again and be relevant and huge in the meta, that's pretty cool. And I've always wanted to put a Hoth survival gear on Yoda. So if this objective Hoth Gambit brings us more ways for me to slam some Jedi into some Hoth decks, I'm all about it. So I'm excited.
Yeah, it's going to add more diversity to the meta, which is never a bad thing.
Man, that thing is annoying. All right, back. Okay. All right, so we'll cross that one off our list. And, oops, crossed the wrong runoff. There we go. And we will jump over to our red-headed stepchild. I'm going to go ahead and start the timer here. And basically what we wanted to look at was Scum and Rebels have finally received their, pretty good sets. But are the new Sith and Smuggler ones overshadowing the current Scum and Rebels? And to kind of kick things off, I guess we had discussed previously, I think it was on the final episode of the Living Force podcast, we're finally getting some sets here between Zuckuss and General Crix Medine where it goes, hey, Scum can actually do something, or hey, Rebels have a big unit that isn't a vehicle. And it led us to ask, okay, well, does it even matter now that we finally got these great things for the other sets? So what are your thoughts? Are we being overshadowed?
I definitely feel they're being overshadowed, especially with all the stuff that's been brought to light the last few days about holding all the cards and it binds all things. I feel like Madine's set is is really good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably my favorite one in that set, and I mean, Dash is in the set. So I mean, I like it better than Dash's set. I mean, that's not to say that Dash's set is, you know, we all know it. Dash's set is good,
right?
But I like this one because of the control. You know, you don't have to worry about a twist of fate in your first attack.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed that. I think adaptive strategy might be a little underrated, especially, you know, people might not have known that you could play it without actually having an edge stack.
Right.
I think that makes that a little bit better. It has Seeds of Decay, which we're going to hit on that, so I won't go too into depth on that one, but I think that's just a really good set. The Scum set, I haven't been able to find anything that I like with it. It's not to say that I don't like the set, because I really think the set has some cool stuff. Like Spring the Ambush is like my favorite card in it, and I like Zuckuss. But the objective is just a typical Scum objective that makes you jump through 600 different hoops to do something, and that's just not for me. But yeah. I do like the set as a whole.
Sure. I let's see. I'm gonna jump over to the the chat. We've got Cowboy Vader. I think I can't. Cowboy Valor. I can't. The green's too bright. I don't feel like capturing has enough teeth yet as a mechanic, which is a cornerstone to Scum. If it becomes more prevalent, threatening, or plays some part in a modified win condition, it would be more interesting. I agree for the most part. I think there's some upsides and downsides to capturing. I don't like that you can capture somebody and they can still replay them. You know, it's good and it's bad. And I think that, you know, right now we've got a situation where Zuckuss' set is neat, but again, its focus is on something that just, as he said, doesn't have enough teeth yet. We've also got Darth Buckets that says payout is really nice to refresh the 2 resource objectives a turn early. I agree. I think anytime you can get free resources, it's a good thing.
I mean, I think they have to be careful with the capture mechanic, though. Mm-hmm. You can't make it so good, because then it's just, you know, cheap removal.
Right.
So, I mean, I respect that they have taken it slowly, but I think there's a point, if that's going to be their main aspect or main mechanic, then I think they may need to ramp it a little bit and give them objectives that do something even if you don't capture.
Yeah.
You know, because a lot of the good ones, like Jabba's, was it Jabba's Reach or Jabba's Orders, the one that gives you +1 reserve if you capture, that's pretty good, but there's no capture cards in Jabba's set, so like the synergy is like non-existent in that set. And I think the same is said for there's that other one that keys off, you know, capture, that gives you the, was it Dengar's that gives you the build, but I think Dengar has a capture in it because he's got the unit.
All right, I'm going to jump in. We've got less than 30 here. I'm going to agree with the chat. Everybody's saying Scum's just not there yet. I've got to agree, but I've also got to point out that everybody in the chat, we had about, I don't know, 14 different responses there. Not one person said anything about Rebels. Every single one of them was talking about Scum. I find it really fascinating. Like, Rebels is still kind of that red-headed stepchild, and people clearly want Scum to be better than it is, which I think is very relevant. So,
or it could just be that they think Rebels are just a little bit closer than the Scum.
We're out of time.
Wah, wah.
All right, so we'll cross that one off our list here, and or not. I don't know why it's not crossed off.
So the next topic, I'll go ahead and introduce what it is. So, Mara Jade or TIE Attack Squad, which set would you rather have in your current Dark Side deck?
I think we address
decisions.
So we've only got 5 minutes. Man, this is a tough one to cover in 5 minutes. So
gotta be brief, Matt.
I think that Mara is both better and worse than TIE Attack Squadron, and I think Mara is both better and worse than Vader. And what I mean by that is I love that Mara has a Sith library, and she has, so that's better than Vader, and I like that she gets targeted strike easier than Vader does. But she doesn't have a fate card. And with TIE Attack Squadron, I like that you don't have to have a fate card to make her have targeted strike, which is awesome. But at the same time, I kind of don't like her cost of 4 compared to the cost of 3. And I also don't like that, you know, if you combo together with TIE Attack Squadron, you can kill something on the same turn that you play TIE Attack. Like, you don't have to just combo with her with a saber, if you will. What's your take on
well, to do TIE Attack Squadron, yeah, you got to have the fate. Boba Fett says, why can't you run both? I mean, you can. I don't necessarily think that's wrong. I think I tried it, and I like TIE Attack Squadron, but its set is so bad for your edge, and I really think there's going to need to be a trend in Darkside of increasing their force icons in the deck rather than relying more on twists. I could be wrong there, but anyway.
So Laratheron in the chat says, the big issue I find with Sith right now is this: fate cards and 2 resource objectives. Yeah, I mean, that's true. Like, the sets that Sith has with Twist are not great outside of Council. You know, both of them are just kind of solid, but only solid with other sets. You can't just put Mara and Council together and have a good combination, in my opinion. Like, Mara's better with cards like Emperor, and even with Vader, you know, 2 units with targeted strike. But for me, I hate to say it, but I've actually found myself liking TIE Attack Squadron more lately, just because you've got Twist, and I think Darkside wins off of winning edges.
Yeah, but when the light side has so many cards that are 3 or higher force icons, they just can't rely on their twists. Because when your next best card in your hand is a 1 and a 2, or 1 and 2, and you don't have anything better, you're in trouble.
Yeah, but it's like Mara, with the exception of Mara in the library. I mean, don't get me wrong, Rage, her saber, and that the Protect guy are both great, but the set just doesn't bring anything to your game that helps you win. Like, the Sith library is great and Mara is great, but like, Twist is good without TIE Attack Squadron, and TIE Attack Squadron is good without Twist because there's other, you know, fate cards that you have in your deck. But Mara, it's just kind of like her saber's only good on her, really, and the guard is only good if you've got some guys committed that you want to protect, which you most likely will. But, you know, Rage again is also very situational. I've just got to go with TIE Attack here. My gut says TIE Attack.
I'm going to take Mara. So
all right.
We'll differ in opinion on that.
But I think, you know, I'm just talking about currently. And I think, I will say that I think future sets, you're going to see Mara become crazy good. Once we start, you know, if we ever get a set with, like, a powerful Vader, a powerful 2-drop, and a Twist of Fate or something, you know, then Mara's like, oh yeah, I've got your back right now. Like, much more so than TIE Attack Squadron would.
I want a Sith set with Vader, Emperor, Sith Holocron, and 2 Force chokes in it.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Probably not.
A plethora of reasons.
We've
got Boba Fett that says TIE Attack Squadron and Talon Roll equals win. I agree with Boba Fett, but I mean, Rage and Mara, if she's committed, is pretty win as well. Darth Bucket says Mara is a defensive set. Defense Protocol is offensive. Yeah, I definitely feel that way. So, TGO, what's your final 30?
I like Mara's set. I mean, I like Rage on Vader, Rage on Emperor,
Rage on Executor,
Rage on Executor. I mean, Rage on Executor can destroy Secret of Yavin 4 one swing, assuming you win the edge, of course. But I just like Rage more than I really think I like Twist right now.
It's a tough choice, no matter what. And I think right now, for me, it's TIE Attack, but for you, it's Mara.
Agree to disagree, sir.
All right, so let me cross this one off the list. And go ahead and start us on the next one.
Rage. Should light side decks care about this card?
It's such a funny... How did we not phrase that question better?
Yeah, because we're, you know...
No, it's funny because I think we both were like, yeah, it sounds good, but when you read it out loud, you're like, why wouldn't they, right? Like,
yeah.
You know, I tend not to care too much when my opponent plays resources, but when my opponent plays a card that's just going to potentially targeted strike 2 of my guys and blow up an objective, I'm probably going to care about that.
So, but if you've got 4 health freeholders or 3 health Dash or Chewy, you know, Chewy just kind of like shrugs it off, like you're just going to die. Chewy's just going to rip your arms off and beat you with it. Freeholders just shrug it off.
You're talking about the damage from targeted strike?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think Rage is like I personally think Rage is much better on an Executor than on anything else. I love that you can commit it and then attack twice in one turn, like on the subsequent turn. Like I think that's, I mean, if you've got 2 liaisons down or just an aggression in hand along with the Rage, I mean, that's 2 dead objectives.
Yeah.
And then, like you said too,
legit.
Like Emperor and Rage with is 6, you know, tactics icons.
And if you destroy the objective, you get to bring Rage back.
Yes, that's very true. Yeah, it's I've got to jump in on the chat here. Elithron says it would be a serious factor if Trust Me wasn't played by everyone. And I agree. You know, Trust Me is very, very relevant right now. But at the same time, if your opponent is using Trust Me to cancel Rage, that's probably a good thing for the dark side. That's 2 free objective damage.
Yeah, but they saved themselves...
Probably a loss.
They saved themselves unit damage and objective damage.
Yeah.
So I think using Trust Me is coming out ahead.
Yeah, but it's like, you know, sometimes when I've got Super Laser Blast in my hand and my opponent has 3PO on the table, it's kind of like, yeah, I'm never going to pay 4 for this, you know, because I know it's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
But like with Trust Me, I don't mind paying 2 to have them damage Trust Me. You know, it's one of those things I'm going to pay 2 to see if they will or not.
I don't know that I like paying 2 resources for 2 objective damage. I just don't know how I feel about that yet. I mean,
Really? Because Rebel Assault seemed to like it pretty well.
Well, that is true. So, I mean, maybe I do like it. And, you know, perhaps I should have thought about Rebel Assault. See, here we go, saying something stupid. So, Darth Bucket said there are good Sith event cards, like Lightning. He doesn't think Rage is any more potent or meta-defining. I mean, I can agree. I don't think it's meta-defining by any means. But I definitely think it's a good enough card that if they have 2 open resources, you might want to worry about it. You might want to keep that in mind.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question in my mind that if any player is attacking twice in one turn, that it's a pretty ridiculous thing that's going to occur. Whether it's multiple targeted strike effects going off, whether it's tactics all over the place, you know, it's a big deal. And I don't think you should discount Rage, because obviously I think that's super relevant. But at the same time, I agree with a lot of people's points here that, you know, it's probably a better light side card than it is a dark side card.
Well, I mean, Bamboozle is pretty much similar to Rage.
Right. Well, Bamboozle, trust me, I mean, we've seen these effects before.
Yeah.
This is the first time dark side's had one.
Yeah, it's definitely ridiculous with light side. But I think it's something that... My thinking is Rage with Vader allows you to take out a freeholder, you know, because you do the 1 damage from the Rage, 3 from the Vader, 3 to another one. You're a force choke away from killing 2 freeholders.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, you know, you got to think of how you can kill these freeholders.
So basically, it's a rich man's Talon roll.
Yes. I can agree to that.
There's only... Elethron says Bamboozle is a lot better. I don't think we would disagree.
No, definitely moving that focus over and freeing up your guy is a little bit better than just removing 2 and freeing up a guy.
Alright, so moving on. We've got tactics versus resources. tactical advantage. Are the tactics icons more relevant now or less relevant? And I guess I should ask you, like, what did you think less relevant meant? Because I think I know what you're talking about there.
I was more or less looking at it as, would you rather have a unit with one tactic icon or two tactics icons, or a unit with three or more blasters?
Actually, so that's not what I thought you meant. I thought that you meant, is it more relevant, less relevant, because, you know, Dash is elite, freeloaders are elite.
That's another aspect of it. I mean, with Dash and freeloaders being, or freeholders being elite, definitely one tactic doesn't go as far as it used to.
Oh, for sure. And you know, we're seeing a lot more decks with the operatives, the Cloud City operatives now, which is a big deal.
Where I wanted to go with this was, is it more, would you rather lock a unit down temporarily with a tactic, or just remove it from the board permanently with blasters, is kind of what...
Right.
So, to me, I would rather remove a card from the board than have to worry about them playing a Cloud City operative or a Bamboozle.
No, I agree totally. I had tried to look at locking down units, and one of the reasons I had failed in multiple tournaments last year trying to battle my way against sleuths was that I thought, you know, focus tokens would be enough. And they're not. Like you said, you want to kill units. And as a dark side player, you want to kill units. And now, more so than ever, I think, Dash with 3 health, freeloaders with 4 health, it's a tough spot for the dark side.
I mean, throwing a tactic on the freeloader is good in the short term, but you have to be able to consistently win edge battles against them, and I don't think that's going to be easy.
Yeah.
So that's where I was going.
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting. Like, Emperor is still, you know, king of the tactics, and he's still really good. I had a tournament this past week in a store championship that I won, and I definitely in my final game as a dark side player, I outraced Sleuth by just locking them down. I was just, you know, attacking every turn with Emperor, and it definitely won me the game locking them down. It's just, you know, a bit tricky to do sometimes. And if that was you who just Skyped me, I have to tell you, I can't look at it. So.
Well then, ignore my Skype message.
Deal.
So, Darth Bucket says, removing it is good, but it requires participation and having enough in one strike to get it out of the way before it strikes back. I mean, yeah, that's an issue. That's why I said 3 or more blasters, because that's really where the threshold is heading. Before, it was like you could get away with a 2-blaster unit and a force choke or a heat of battle. Now you really need units with 3 blasters, 4 blasters, and you still might need heat of battles and force chokes, because Wookiees can protect and Guardians can protect, and it's just super annoying.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting going forward. You know, if Darkseid starts getting more units that have more unit damage icons, like right now, you know, Krat Dragon and the 501st are kind of the best options for Darkseid.
Yeah.
But if going forward they start getting better ones and bigger ones, then, you know, I mean, if they ever get the Vader from the cooperative deck, that you know, it's like you gain a unit damage icon, I think, for every objective in play. Is that right?
I don't know if it's. I think it's strike. All of your objectives.
Oh, okay, that works too. Either way, if they ever get something like that, right, then it's like, pff, who cares? We've got this under control. But I don't know. For right now, I definitely prefer removal to tactics. So, what about you? You got 30 seconds.
I prefer removing a unit to straight out just locking them down. There is a point though, like locking a unit down. If you can keep that unit locked down, like a Han or like specifically Han, he's easy to keep locked down because he's not elite.
Right.
Luke a little bit harder because he's got that ability, but units like that and Chewie as well. If you can keep them tacticked, that's fine. Well, with Chewie, if Wookiee Life that's not out, then you just want that guy dead. But keeping the non-elite unit locked down is far easier, and I think that's fine if it's a good unit, because then if you kill it, it could always come back. That's my only. That's my only issue.
That's more than our 5 minutes. We got to kill it.
Okay, time is up.
All right, so let's turn this guy off here, and
so the next topic is Echoes of Hoth. Has Seeds of Decay and Echoes of the Force drastically overshadowed the previous cycle's fate, Battle of Hoth?
I think it's funny. This kind of goes back to the Hoth Gambit discussion. That I think it's funny that, I mean, Seeds of Decay is an amazing fate card, and yet it's not being talked about. It's not seeing much play right now. I mean, we both
just
know
got the first version of it, though.
Right. But I think that it's a good question. Like, are Seeds and Echoes so much better that it kind of makes Battle of Hoth, the fate card, kind of look lame or tame in comparison? And I definitely think so.
Is that more because the Hoth cycle is just so much more mediocre than the Echoes so far, or is it just because Seeds and Echoes are just that good?
I think it's because Seeds and Echoes can be game-breaking, and Battle of Hoth was not.
But the 3 Force icons was
twisted away almost all the time.
Touché, sir.
You know, it's don't get me wrong. It's just most of the time, Battle of Hoth puts you in a position, and Seeds and Echoes do too. But Battle of Hoth puts you in a position where you just want to put it in and just try to win the edge. You know, as a light side player, especially, you're not looking at doing anything cute when you've got Battle of Hoth. You're just trying to put it into the edge battle and win. And when it gets twisted away by the dark side, it's like, that was not good.
Yeah, but if you're gonna judge a fate card based on twist, then all fate cards are terrible. Equally terrible, because all of them suffer that same fate.
I guess what I was meaning was, like, when you lost your Battle of Hoth to a twist, it was like, there goes 3 Force icons. But when you lose Seed or Echoes to a twist, you're like, darn it, I had a whole plan wrapped around that. And it didn't involve just removing 1 health.
So
or 1 damage.
If your whole plan was revolving around it, isn't that worse when it gets twisted away?
No, it is. That's my point. Like, that's why I think, like, Battle of Hoth is just kind of like, outside of the 3 Force icons.
I mean, Boba Fett brings up a good point. He says turning back on Vader's Fist or General's Imperative, is a good thing.
No, they are. I've just rarely have I seen just 1 damage beyond those objectives.
Now, I don't necessarily disagree about your assessment on Seeds and Echoes, because I think they are amazing. They're going to change the way the game is played on a very fundamental level, because now you have to worry about who you commit, when you commit them, and if you're going to go into an engagement and possibly get blown out by Seeds of Decay.
Right.
In Emperor, I think we discussed this the other day. You said, going in with an Emperor that is committed and then getting Seeds of Decay is just going to be the worst thing ever.
Right. Well, it's just like up there with, you can't block Chewbacca with Emperor. like there should be red flags everywhere. Like, that might be a bad idea. And now you don't really know. If you haven't seen the Crix's cards come up during the game at that point, it is really hard, because if you block with Emperor and they see to decay him, that's probably a dead Emperor.
Yeah, you're in for a bad game.
Right.
I mean, so I think Seeds is stronger than Battle of Hoth. I think Echoes is not, but I still think Echoes is pretty good.
I think I would rank them as Seeds, Echoes, Battle.
See, I'm the opposite. Well,
almost.
I would flip flop Battle and Echoes. I definitely think Seeds is the best.
Okay.
I probably think Seeds of Decay it might be the second best fate card, or the first best fate card not named Twist of Fate. However you want to look at it.
Yeah, it's hard to trump Twist. A dark side Twist can make a light side attacker waste 2 cards out of 3 or 4, just pretty ridiculous. But Seed can make them completely waste the block in general, which is kind of crazy too. So.
I'm really looking forward to more of these. Seeds of
more
Decay.
of these 5-minute discussions, or more of Seeds of Decay?
Seeds of Decay and these lovely 5-minute discussions.
Yeah, my fear is when like Seeds or a fate card on Seeds level starts show. Like, think if Mara had Seeds, like she'd just go in every deck, you know?
Amazing.
Yeah, you just be like, I've got to play this card. Doesn't matter. Like, it's so good. So, you know, maybe we'll start looking at both Seeds and Echoes differently once they start appearing in other sets. Right now, especially Echoes, it's just kind of underwhelming right now. The sets just aren't good enough. But that's our 5. So, all right. So moving on to the next one.
Next one is holding all the cards and it binds all things. Is this interaction too strong for the game?
So I'll let you kick this guy off.
Well,
that's not the next one.
Yeah, it is.
I lied. You're right. I didn't.
According to my list, and
I
that's
know. No, it's even right there. It's got its own graphic.
Yeah. Although it has clearinghouse in the graphic.
Resources was the initial
anyway
concept.
I think it's definitely a very strong combination. What is it? Mike 1977 posted the videos the other day of him just going off and making somebody draw like 25 cards or something like that.
He's been posting videos every day. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a cool little combo. I'm not going to knock it. I question its consistency because I have been trying, testing it out.
Sure.
Just doing some sample hands for the first 3 turns, different objective setups, what have you. I finally got it to go off, and it took 3 turns, but it finally went off. And I think I was able to play 10 holding all the cards before I ran out of resources. Now, that's pretty impressive. I was only able to put 3 freeholders in there.
Only?
Yeah, only. And I had Lando and Dash, too. But, I don't know. I am not sold on the consistency of this combo yet. I think it's good. I think it's really strong. But I think the consistency is going to be the problem for it. Not to mention that there's a lot of bad cards, and it binds all things in that set, Jedi Training. So.
Well, I mean, Trust Me's in there. There's a bunch of bad cards in there. Freeloaders are in there. There's a bunch of bad cards in there. I mean, the deck is kind of 50% bad cards and 50% great cards.
Yeah, I sorted it out last night, and I came to the same conclusion. I'm like, man, you just don't want to draw a lot of these cards. And
yeah, like I personally don't think that Jedi Training is needed to make holding all the cards good. I think holding all the cards is ridiculous as it is. I know this past weekend I definitely had holding all the cards comboing with Watcher's Obi. I think it's the deck that we're talking about. The deck that's gotten a lot of hype online lately is it's a 3-card combo. You're comboing holding with Jedi. It binds all things to combo off with freeloaders. If you can't put those things together, it's not going to be that impressive a deck, which is fine. When you do put those things together, it's kind of a ridiculous deck. But what's kind of fascinating to me is that it doesn't just auto win, and that's why I don't really get a lot of these rage quits. Maybe once Darkside players start playing with some board wipes, it'll be a little different. But at the same time, if they've got Trust Me in play, it just cancels the board wipe. So.
And it doesn't help that terrible ruling about, well, I guess it's not a new ruling, but that you can just blow up your own Trust Me.
Yeah.
Don't get me started there. But anyway, I think the problem is, like you said, less with it binds all things, and it's just more of holding all the cards and freeloaders, plus all those cards that are in Dash as well, and his objective just make things crazy.
Yeah, I've got to say, I don't even understand why Yoda's set is in there. I don't think you ever need, the idea is to get your freeloaders and you're holding all the cards and it binds all things going off. I can see you needing another Jedi resource so that way you can. No, I don't even know what you need the Jedi resource for, because it binds all things is neutral. So I really think it should just be it binds all things and then something else that just draws.
It's possible that he wanted it for the objective itself to put out free resources or to make Clearinghouse less bad. Yeah. I'm not sure. Or I even thought that it could have been for for a counter stroke, but then I was like, nah, it's probably not that because he just wants to blow up Trust Me anyway.
Well, he mentioned something about having Yoda for winning edges, but I don't think this deck cares about winning edges at all. I think the deck is. I think the concepts are all really there. I think somebody's going to put together a really evil version of the list. I think Yoda is going to come out and somebody's going to find something that is just super, super obnoxious. Much more so than it already is.
Yeah, I just didn't feel like that this, that it was any worse than any other freeholder deck out there.
I get what you mean.
Like holding all the cards in freeholder deck.
Yeah, like they're all just kind of the same. You load them down with bad cards, and they just don't do things. That's the time.
We're out of time?
Yeah, I think we could have said more about that one, but
we'll move on.
All right, so let's cross this one off the list here. All right,
so,
two topics left.
Yep. Sleuth Scouts.
Sleuth Scouts.
Has Big Smug replaced Unblockables? By Big Smug, did we mean Solo Smugglers?
Yeah.
Yeah. So has Solo Smugglers replaced the Unblockables?
I like calling them Fat Mains and Skinny Sleuths.
Fat Mains and Skinny Sleuths. That sounds like a jazz band or something.
Or a movie about the atomic bomb.
Or a movie about what?
Nothing. It's a bad joke. All right. So, I definitely think yes, it has. We had a tournament this weekend. There were 7 of us, 2 of which were on Sleuth Scouts. I wouldn't say everybody was on Big Smugglers, but everybody else was playing, Freeloaders, Dash, all that nonsense, along with like Jedi or Rebels or something.
I can't wait for the day that Sleuth Scouts are officially gone. That we can just say Sleuth Scouts never playable again. I don't like that deck, and I don't know why. I don't like it. I've always been. I think you've said this before. You're a Super Friends player.
Yeah.
That's me too. Like I cannot. And I like vehicles too, but not Sleuth Scouts. I hate the deck. I wish those cards were never made. But they're here, and you got to deal with them. But I
wouldn't say I wish they were never made. I just don't think that there should have been 2 of them.
Yeah, that's
in one set. I mean, Blockade Runner's pretty offensive, I suppose, but there was a nice conversation earlier today with Kennedy Hawk and Elithron on Flip the Force, and they were discussing just how offensive and how meta warping Sleuth Scouts were, and comparing it to the big smuggler decks we have now. And I mean, at least with Sleuth Scouts, you had to empty your hand to be super offensive with them, And here, with big smugglers, it's the opposite. You do nothing but gain card advantage to be offensive with them, and I find that not fun. I think both decks are not fun to play against. Lots of fun to pilot.
They both warp the meta in different ways. I mean, Sleuth Scouts, you have to worry about how you can handle them. You have to have a plan for them. Now you got to have a plan for freeholders and Dash and holding all the cards, and the smugglers just need to go into retirement mode for a little while. It seems like, because they're just getting too much good stuff. It's crazy.
I'll jump in here. We've got a lot of comments from the chat. Unblockables can be used with freeloaders. They were needed to stop the power curve of Sith. Sleuths are rock, paper, scissors and skew success towards deck building rather than game decisions. I agree with all of those things. That's kind of why I wanted to rattle them all off. I think that FFG, for whatever reason, has been building Smugglers and Spies as a objective set that just does some really obnoxious things if it can. They give them 2 really powerful cards in one set and then kind of a bunch of not so great cards. And it's kind of, can we put these all together during the course of the game and see what happens? Sleuths are 2 ofs. Holding all the cards are 2 ofs. Freeloaders are 2 ofs.
I think the Sleuth Scouts are a little bit easier to fight against than the Freeholders.
Yes.
Just because dealing with a 2 health unit a lot easier than a 4 health unit, at least right now.
The conversation online ended up gearing itself towards, is it that these cards are a problem now, or will these cards even be a problem by the end of the cycle? And we got Sleuth Scouts outside of a cycle. You know, they weren't really a part of the Hoth cycle because they were in Edge of Darkness. And here we have, you know, both freeloaders and holding all the cards that are definitely a part of the cycle. So is an answer coming? I don't know, but I do know that, you know, as a player of the game, it gets harder and harder to win based off of your decision making, and it seems to be easier and easier to win by just drawing a bunch of cards and seeing what happens. You got 25 seconds.
25 seconds of dead air. Yes. No, I mean, I like the freeholders. I mean, I like playing with them. I hate the Sleuth Scouts. I don't know. Like right now, the game is in a very weird spot than what it was last year. Last year, it seemed like dark side dictated everything. Now, this year, it seems like light side is dictating a lot. So I don't know where. And I don't know if there's an answer coming. I mean, it's just I just don't know. I mean, it's hard right now. It's tough times for the dark side, man.
Final discussion. We are on Shifty Lookout.
Shifty Lookout.
Does this unit require the dark side to play Force Choke and or Defense Protocol? Can Navy and Scum interact with this card? So, again, just to start off the discussion, the issue that we're talking about is we have seen games where if an opponent lands one and or both Shifty Lookouts, it's really hard for the dark side to come back from that. The Force Chokes help, Defense Protocol helps, but if Navy is not running Defense Protocol, or if Scum is mono Scum, they don't really have an answer to that lockout situation.
Yeah, this guy is super annoying, especially more so early game.
Yeah.
Late game, he's more or less just a buff dash, is really all I've seen. But yeah, landing one of this guy, if you cannot clear him from the board, I mean it's a Vader's Fist all game long. God forbid that Chewbacca or a Wookiee with Wookiee Life Debt out is on the board with this guy, because now you've got like nothing. Trust Me, you know, if you're playing Trust Me in the deck, which Solo Smugglers looks like is going that way.
Yep.
Scum can't capture them, so I mean they're kind of like.
No, well, hold on, I got to interject. Colonel Sanders points out that the fighter unit that comes in Dengar's set, Sellout named it the Karax class Assault Fighter. That gets the 1-drops.
Does it capture him from play?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay, well, so Scum does have something, but isn't that in a terrible set?
Well, I mean, yeah, but there's answers for the other things we've been discussing that are answers in terrible sets, you know. So yeah. I guess that's kind of the question of the day: is we have some quasi answers here, you know, Force Choke, Defense Protocol, etc., etc. But where do things lie? Like, do we have to play these? Do we have to do this? Do we have to do that in order to deal with these cards? I would think that, and we've got a whole ton of messages coming in, but I would think most players aren't too worried about Shifty Lookout at this point.
I don't know. I think it's something you need to be concerned about.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't just be like, well, they get it, you know. I'm just playing a card down, no big deal. That one card is a big deal. Two cards is a big deal. I mean, anybody that's ever played the light side and seen two Vader's Fists against them, you're going to lose probably 90% of those games, unless you just have the 4 best cards ever.
It's funny because in our playtesting last week, I saw 2 Shifty Lookouts against a Navy deck, and it was much more of a lock for just like, I just straight up win this game, than the holding all the cards Jedi Mind Trick freeloaders was. like it created this scenario where you can only have 4 cards in your hand, and if you don't have a way to kill this guy, Dash is just going to drive you insane. Yeah,
Dash with 4 black icons is just ridiculous value at 4.
Well, minimal. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Okay, 4 across the board, not 4 blast. Yeah.
Right. No, just 4 icons across the board.
Yep.
Yeah, I think this guy is a major pain for the dark side if they're not playing Force Chokes. That's just my straight up opinion of him. I think it's a really good 1-drop. Every time I see him, I want to get him in play as soon as possible.
Right.
And if I have Wookiee protectors or guardians, I'm just grinning ear to ear because they can't touch it.
Yeah, it's an interesting card. It's not something that you have to kill or you're going to lose the game because of, but it's something that needs to leave the board, otherwise you're most likely going to lose the game.
Yeah, one, most likely you're going to lose the game. 2, playing 4 cards as the dark side is next to impossible. Seriously, you've got 4 cards. Okay, so you play 2 cards on your turn. Now you're down to 2 edge cards. Yeah, that's good against. Well, actually, it's not even good against freeholders because you're still considered to have 4.
Yeah.
But it's just this guy's crazy good, and I think he might be underrated by some people.
No, I think he's definitely fine under the radar right now, but I think that's because holding all the cards and Dash are getting all the attention.
Right.
I think really when it comes down to it, the set itself is just really good.
Yeah, I mean, when you're the 3rd best card in the set, yeah, you're gonna get less of the spotlight.
Yep. But
so.
It's great. I don't think players have to play to deal with it, but I think it definitely makes Scum and Navy a little worrisome to play as mono affiliations right now.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're definitely playing with bigger threats in mind than you are with this guy.
That is our final 5 minutes. So
exciting. We're up to 23 viewers.
That's awesome.
We have exceeded expectations.
We have 23 viewers that are about to get some Scum and Villainy spoilers.
We're just going to go straight into the spoilers?
You're so mean.
Or are we going to make them wait a little longer?
No, why would we do that? That's crazy. I guess before we move on to the spoilers, we can ask the cast, does the cast have anything that they would want to ask? You know, we covered a lot of topics there. So is there anything that they have on their mind? Anything they want to say or cover before we go on?
I think they just want us to get to the spoilers.
Sellout says, pretty please.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
So
we'll give it, they're on a minute delay, so we'll give them just a minute to get some. Colonel Sanders says, the suspense is killing me. All right, so 2 votes are to go in. Let's see if we can get a 3rd vote.
He says he hopes it lasts. So he wants more suspense.
Oh, interesting.
All right, let's stop teasing him and let's just.
All right, so true story here. The way I set this up, because we were running just a couple minutes late to get the cast going. Darth Buckets asks, how do you think playtesters felt about freeloaders?
I can't comment on that.
I know. All right. So what I was saying, true story. I'm gonna switch over to start discussing the spoilers, but there is a chance that there's gonna be some spoilers on the screen that I did not intend anyone to see. So, let's. Yeah, I don't know. You know what I could do is I could. Nope, that's not even gonna work. Yeah, basically I just have to switch this over and hope our stuff is covered pretty well. Let's see what happens here. Okay, it worked. There is the first spoiler.
The slave trade?
The slave trade. So for our listeners, we'll do this as best as we can here. The slave trade, Scum affiliation. It is 1 resource and a health of 6. And it states reaction. After you win a force struggle, capture the top card of an opponent's deck at this objective if able. Forced reaction. After you lose a force struggle, 1 random card is rescued from this objective if able. So, TGO, I'll let you start. What are your thoughts on this bad boy?
It is worse than Tatooine Crash. I mean, really it is. I mean, you have to win a force struggle to capture the top card of their deck when Tatooine Crash already does that on its own. I mean, it's got the same health and resources as Tatooine Crash. It just feels like a bad Tatooine Crash. But I mean, it's still free capture. You got to work a little for it. So I mean, it's not terrible.
Yep.
Boba Fett, so worse Tatooine Crash. I wonder if you heard Heard my
Someone at
comment
FFG really, really, really loves Trandoshans.
Yeah.
You know, I'll point out a couple things though. This is a Tatooine objective.
Yep.
Which means that you can put feeding the pit on it.
Yep.
Which means you can eat the card that you capture.
But the next card kind of makes you not want to eat it.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I do want to point that out. Like, Scum doesn't have a ton of Tatooine objectives that are really good for feeding the pit. This one is really good for feeding the pit. I mean, it's basically you get to draw a free card every turn.
Yeah, no, it's definitely. I mean, if you win a force struggle,
yes,
which Scum have a hard time doing.
Yep. Elethron points out that you can get a Forlom in play pretty easily.
Yeah, but is giving up. Well, I mean, after you lose a force struggle, okay, so it's one random card. So, I mean, if you've got bad cards there, yeah, that's a fine trade. But I don't know, if you got good cards there, you don't want to give them up just to get a Forlom back.
Yeah, Elthron says you can discard Forlom from your opening hand and win the force struggle on your first turn. To give them a card and get your Forlom into play for free.
And what if that first card is like a Chewbacca?
Right.
I don't want to do that.
Yeah, there's very few cards that I would just let my opponent have. Like, I think the best thing for this is feeding the pit, personally.
Yeah, I think that's probably the best.
All right.
Move on to the next one?
Moving on.
I'll take this one.
Is everybody ready? Should we do it? No, okay, we'll just move. I have no idea how you say this guy's name. Zagarian Slaver?
Zygarian Slaver?
Zygarian, okay.
3-cost unit, 2 health, 2 force icons, 2 black blasters, character, slaver, action, return a card captured at one of your objectives to its owner's hand to draw 2 cards, limit once per turn. So, with this objective, I mean, obviously you play it, you win the first force struggle. If it's a bad card that you want to put in their hand, that's fine. You can trade it for two of your cards. I mean, that seems fair. Seems okay. My big problem with him is his 2 health.
Sure.
Other than that, I think he's okay. I mean, the 2 black blast is fine. I like the ability. Free cards, never a bad thing. And you know when you're going to lose a force struggle, so you never actually have to like lose a card without value with this guy.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, it says return a card, so you're not rescuing a card. You just get to take any card. So if there's some garbage card that you've got down, like a dig of a training ground or something that you know is irrelevant, you can just draw 2 cards. And it's once per turn, which means you can do it on their turn and on your turn. So I think this guy's interesting. I like that you can also have more than one of this guy in play. He's not unique,
right?
So that's a whole lot of card drawing if you like. But yeah.
I mean, it's the 2 health is just really what kills it. I'm
not a fan of the 2 health, but I mean, there's far worse cards. I think
No, I definitely agree. Definitely agree.
But I think we can just call this guy Hugh Jackman for the rest of the for the rest of the life of the game.
So Bamboozle is Anne Hathaway, and this is Hugh Jackman.
So for those listening, TGO is trying to put together in Star Wars Living Card Game cards the entire cast of Les Mis.
We need a what's his name? That guy from the Australian actor.
Russell Crowe.
That's it. That's him.
Okay, we'll find one.
We need a Russell Crowe card.
The Moisture Farmer might be kind of close. All right, so I think we've said all there is to say about the Nigerian slaver. Elethron asks if this would be considered a rescue. No, it would not. Boa Fett says you don't always know anymore with seeds and echoes these days.
That's probably in regard to my when you're going to lose the force struggle. So.
I see. Darth Buckets, you can choose when to pitch the card back, so it's not card advantage for your opponent. That's true. You can take the reaction after the refresh step.
Well, they're getting 1 and you're getting 2.
Right. But I mean, as long as it's not a good card, like you would never toss them a good card. That would be awful.
But if you're going to lose the Force struggle, might as well just give it up for 2 cards than give it up for nothing.
Yeah, absolutely true. All right, so I think we're done with this slaver. Let's move on to...
I'm done with you, slaver. I like the next card.
Galactic Scum. It is a 1-drop, 1 Force icon, 3 health. Scum.
What? 1 drop with 3 health?
Oh no! It's a Scum unit. He has a unit damage icon and an edge tactics icon. He also has wonderful text. Forced reaction. After you lose a force struggle, deal 1 damage to this unit.
I think that's pretty solid for a 1-drop.
I don't know. I mean, how many force struggles do you think you have in the average game?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 to 10.
Yeah. It's interesting because you see it as a 1-drop and you're like, hey, that's pretty good early game. And he's not bad against Sleuth Scouts by any means because you're probably never going to lose an edge against those guys. Or not edge, force struggle. But, I mean, at the same time, you know, I think this guy's pretty good late game. Because you're probably not going to be having too many force struggles after this guy if you play him late game.
Right. No, I can agree to that. I think he's definitely good. And we've seen the smuggler equivalent of this.
Yeah.
And the people in the chat seem to think that this guy is better. I don't disagree with that. I think the smuggler guy has 1 more icon, but goes away, is discarded when you use the force struggle, which is, I think, a lot worse than this.
Yeah.
Which is just taking the 1 damage. The tactic icon is relevant. The blaster, probably not so much. I just think it's a really good 1-drop, and I agree with you that later in the game gets better. But playing them early, you know, if you draw a couple of these guys early on, I definitely don't think you don't play them in fear of them being damaged.
Darth Buckets has a great point. The objective corporate exploitation lets you exhaust it to put a 1-drop into play. This is pretty good with that.
Is it, though? I mean...
I think it's pretty good.
You're still focusing an objective. I mean, it's okay. It's a surprise blocker. Yeah, and Sellout says Jabba puts this guy in, which is...
Yeah, I like it better with the... because you're trading Jabba's 2 tactics for this guy.
Yeah, I'd rather have the 2 tactics.
Yeah, I think the corporate exploitation is pretty sick. Because... you can do it in response to an attack or whatnot, but
yeah, they think they're going to get unopposed, and all of a sudden, whoa, where'd this guy come from?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not against this guy, but I'm not in love with him just yet. I need to. You know, we've got the corrupt official, which is a 2/3, and he only has the 1 blast icon or the 1 unit damage icon, but his text is insanely good. So this guy costs 1 less, has the tactics icon, but his text isn't as insanely good. So I think it's you know, it makes the set better than what has come before it so far. You know, you don't have to use the objective to capture if you don't want to.
I think comparing this guy to corrupt official is not fair to this guy because corrupt official, I mean, corrupt official is really an event card that just can't be canceled.
Yeah, true enough.
You know, like you rarely. I mean, some people do play the corrupt official, but you rarely play it as a unit. So yeah. I don't think that's necessarily a fair comparison.
All right, so moving on to the 4th card, we've got...
I'll take that one. Okay. Oh, wait, no, it's the same card.
Oh, sickness.
I'll take the 5th card.
You want the 5th card? Okay.
I want the 5th card.
Do we want to discuss the fact that you get 2 Galactic Scums?
I think that's fine. I mean... I don't mind getting 2 of these. I don't mind having 4 in a deck.
Yeah, I don't think it's bad to have 4. I mean, the only thing I don't like is, like, if you get all 4 of these guys down and you lose a force struggle, that's a lot of free damage.
But you've got a lot of tactics that can help you win those force struggles.
That's very true.
So, I mean, there's that.
If only these guys were troopers.
Oh, my goodness.
Number 5. Now, are you going to call it by its real name or by its nickname? No. Actually, I lied. I forgot what number 5 is.
Yeah, no, you're thinking of number 6. No, number 5 is the Slaver Holding Cells. 2-cost resource, 1 force icon. It gives 2 resources. Enhance your play area. It's limited. Reaction, after you win a force struggle, remove 1 focus token from this enhancement. So we get our Scum version of, was it Experimental Tech Lab?
Yes, sir.
So the Scum now have Experimental Tech Lab, also known as Slaver Holding Cells. I'm not as in love with this version, the Scum version, as I am the Tech Lab.
Really?
Well, only because in mono Scum, they're probably not winning as many force struggles as, say, a Sith Navy deck.
No, I've got to disagree, man.
It's just as good, don't get me wrong, but I'm just less in love with it because it's Scum. I
just want to rewind 45 seconds where you said...
all the tactics, yes. No, I mean, there is that, but I don't know. It's just, in my experience with Scum, I have had more of a hard time winning force struggles than I have winning them.
I'm not a big fan of the Phase 1 Dark Troopers' health. I'm not a big fan of the Scum units' reaction. But I think the fact that Scum can now do this and not have to run another affiliation, I think it's a really big deal.
I mean, this definitely maybe does some good tricks with payout. If you follow where I'm going with that. I mean, it's just...
well, not really, because the payout is just objectives.
Right, but you can use this to pay for payout, and then this could refocus because you're playing more units that could help you win the edge.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
So maybe there's something there, is what I'm getting at. I don't know. I mean, it's...
the chat has already moved on. Like, everybody in the chat, it was, oh, yes, this is so much better, this is going in Sith, and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And then, like, maybe 6 or 7 posts down, it's now all of a sudden, what's the last card? Like, everybody is hot to know the last card. It's like they have forgotten what Slaver Holding Cells means to them already and have moved on.
They think it's echoes of the Force.
Yeah, I've seen echoes, I've seen a Seeds guess. It's quite interesting.
Well, let's disappoint and move on to the final card.
No. I think that the Slaver Holding Cells is worth a little bit more than that acknowledgement. I really think it's really good. Like, you've got, like, we've had people complain, we've had people say, you know, holding all the cards is too good, dash is too good, etc., etc., etc. But as soon as Scum starts to become more viable, corrupt officials will start to see more play.
Yep.
And I really think that Slaver Holding Cells is a great push in the right direction. And I agree with some of the guys in the chat that, you know, this goes better in a Sith deck than Dark Trooper Project did.
The set as a whole,
yeah,
I missed that. I mean, I guess I could see that because you're going to win more force struggles,
yeah, so the objective is going to trigger more.
What's that?
You've got card advantage off the Slaver.
Right, yeah, because that all comes off of winning more force struggles.
Yeah,
and then you can give them back a bad card for 2 cards, or keep the good cards.
Yeah.
Either way, yeah, I think I agree with that statement.
All right, we'll give him the last one. Just seems mean not to. Now, this is the one. Are we going to call it by its real name or by its nickname?
We'll call it by its real name at first, and then we will We can let them come to their own conclusion on it, what its nickname should be.
Address the pointy elephant in the room.
Yes.
The very last card, Relentless Pursuit. Cost 1, 3 Force icons. Action, reveal a captured card, then search an opponent's deck for a copy of that card, reveal it, and capture it. Shuffle the search deck. So, dead silence.
I'm waiting for minds to be blown.
I wish it was search an opponent's deck for all copies of that card.
Oh, that would have been so good because it would have just been a kick in the pants to the freeholders.
So there's a lot of things here. So number one, you capture Chewy, you now get all the Chewies. So again, I just want to point out, this makes feeding the pit really good.
Yeah.
You know, you're just going to stick them right on Sarlacc, or not Sarlacc, but wherever feeding the pit is, and then start eating away.
This card's getting positive reactions in the chat.
Yes, the chat is loving it. I'll also point out, this doesn't say where it's captured. It just says capture it.
Yeah, no, you get to put it wherever you want.
Yep. And like 9 times out of 10, maybe even more, you're going to reveal a card that's going to have a duplicate in their deck. Like it just seems like it's always going to go off.
And it's a 1-cost capture, so it's
with 3 Force icons.
Yeah, so I mean it's a great edge card. It's a pretty good capture card. I mean, obviously, if you don't have anything captured, it's pretty bad. So
we've got Boba Fett. So this gets splashed into all decks until Freeloader and Sluice go away. No, it's not searching opponents for all copies. It's just a copy. So it hurts those things, but it doesn't do enough.
Well, he realized his mistake when he says, "Never mind. Trust me."
Yeah. Trust me.
Yeah. It all comes back to that darn trust me.
So
the art is there.
Relentless Pursuit, but I don't think I have a way to zoom in on this, and I don't know how well the stream viewers could see. But for some reason, I don't want to criticize the artist, but 3PO has a pointy head. 3PO's head, if you look closely, 3PO's head is not round. It has a point in this picture.
It is far from round. Yeah.
So Pointy Pursuit might be what we start calling it.
Pursuit. Yes.
So anyway, how would you rate the objective set as a whole?
I like it. Card advantage is good, and this set, helps that. My one, it always goes back to this with the Scum, is that they make you work for a little bit of a payoff.
Yeah.
And if Relentless Pursuit allowed you just to capture anything in their deck, maybe that would have been too good at 1, but it's pretty much a dead card if you haven't captured anything yet. I like the 1-drops, and that's not to say that I think Relentless Pursuit is bad, because I think it's good. I think it's okay. But I like the 1-drops. I think the objective, I don't know, it's okay. Sith might like it. I don't know. I mean, overall, it's a pretty decent set. It's there are worse Scum sets out there. Yes. Like if I had to rate this on a scale of 1 to 10, I think it's a solid 6.5, 7. Yeah.
I like the set. I think what we're going to see is it's going to be splashed into other affiliations. I'm not certain that this right now is a mono Scum objective set. But, AZST says C-3PO does have a pointy head in the movies. The back half of the mask has a peak.
Oh, I never knew that.
Well, I think it's not that it's a point. I think it's just that there's something up there, that it's not completely oval shaped on all sides, but it's definitely not a point, and it definitely, there's no denying that it looks really weird in this picture.
I mean, if that's what he looks like, whatever, but it does look weird. But I like this set, and I'm going to try it in Sith. See where that goes.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested in trying the deck more. Trying the set more. It's got a lot of one cost things. And it's kind of nice. And that slave holding whatever cell. What is it called? We just
Slaver holding cell.
Yeah, I think that's really legit. So that'll do it for the spoilers. And I know we said it'll go till 5, but we're gonna jump in. We've got 2 quick discussions. I've got to figure out how to switch over to them.
Do you want to do those discussions, or do you want to?
We can hold off. We can save it for another one.
We can save it for another day. It'll give us more time to get the visuals prepared, since that was what was causing part of the delay.
Yeah, we were a couple minutes late. We were trying to get some of those in at the last minute. We've got them ready, but we can do it next time for sure.
Yeah, we'll do it next week.
Yeah.
So.
All right, so that's going to wrap it for episode 1. Well, we won't wrap it just yet. We can see if the chat wants to discuss anything. We've got Darth Buckets. The resource in a Scum set is awesome for mono Scum. Definitely agree. Scum still can't blow up objectives. Yeah. That's okay. It's not like in a tournament you're scored based on whether or not you can blow up objectives as a dark side player.
They can blow up objectives. They've got some blast in their affiliation. They're just the affiliation with the most blasters and tactics. So
well, I think what hasn't been said is that this objective set might combo really well with Slave 1 set.
And that's what Sellout says. If you play Slave 1, they can.
Oh, okay. He just said it.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't mind pairing this with Tattooing Crash, because then somebody said that they've got the 6 health. That could be relevant. This one has 6 health, Tattooing Crash, and you're going to be capturing a whole lot of cards. I don't know, maybe that's something. I'm going to throw some Feeding the Pits on there, discard these things. I don't know.
Nooner says Top Cut says otherwise about destroyed objectives. Yeah, Nooners, it was a very facetious statement.
I must have missed that statement. What was the statement?
I was just joking around about Darkseid needing to blow up objectives.
Oh. So we peaked out at 28 viewers.
That's great.
That was nice. That's almost that's more than double what I had anticipated. Because during our weekly streams we were only getting about 13, 14 as a high.
Yep.
Must have been the spoilers. Hopefully we get 28 coming back next week for our second episode.
I have to admit, for being the first episode, I thought it kind of went pretty smoothly.
I thought it was fine, yeah.
Yeah, no real hiccups. We've got Colonel Sanders. This objective plus Tattooing Crash plus Jabba's Palace plus Corrupt Official equals annoying.
Yes.
That's very true.
That will be annoying. Anything that's going to boost a 6 health objective up to 7 is going to be annoying. Especially if you've got... If all your objectives are the 6 health ones, and then you play the Jabba's Palace, now they've got to do 21 damage. That might slow them down a little.
Just
and on top of that, you've still got your corrupt officials. So yeah, fun times for the Scum, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe this is the set that gets them there. I don't know.
I don't think it's the set that gets in there, but I think it's a step in the right direction that we finally start seeing Sith objective or Scum objectives that are worth playing.
Yeah, but to be fair, anything that's not from Hoth Cycle is a step in the right direction for Scum.
Yeah, but it's almost, it's just a shame that, like, in the last 2 packs of the Hoth Cycle is really where Hoth Cycle kicked up and got into gear. So it's really a shame that in those sets Scum got Dengar and that was it. like compared to Executor, Han, Luke, even AT-ATs. I mean, Scum got really shafted at the end of that cycle.
Some might say they got shafted the whole cycle.
So let's go back to the last card, please. Sure. There you go.
He wants to see the Conehead some more.
Sure. Pointy Pursuit.
Yeah.
Darth Buckets, we can put images up. I don't know when. It's like, I don't mean that to be mean. I mean that in Wednesday night is our weekly meetup night for the card game. So, after we're done streaming, I leave to go play cards, and I don't come home for several hours. So they will be up soon-ish. I would guess tomorrow.
Boba Fett says it's decent, but just another mediocre set in a long line of mediocre bad sets. I don't know. I mean, yeah, I did say what 6.5, 7. I mean, that's slightly above average. I think it's better than he's giving it credit for, but it's not. It's by no means a like.
Scylla has a good point that Pointy Pursuit does not search the opponent's hand. It's just the deck.
Right. Yeah. You know, you win some, you lose some. I mean, it costs 1. If they have 1 in, I don't know. Like, I don't know what the statistics are, but if they had 1 in play and you captured it, or you just happen to capture it, I would think the odds are still pretty good that it's in their deck.
So, what do you think of this Pointy Pursuit with captured? The card.
Right. No, I kind of knew what you meant. I don't know. I mean, captured cost 3. So expensive.
Yeah, but for 4, as long as they didn't have the card in their hand as well, I mean,
right.
you've completely removed something from the game.
And then they just play Trust Me, and you're like, oh, I can't do it. No, I mean, yeah, removing, capturing both Chewbacca's or both dashes seems good.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna disagree with that. It is good, but you paid 4 resources to do it.
I think 4 is plenty fair.
Well, no, I mean I think it's fair, but what else are you doing that turn?
Winning at life.
I would just rather play the 6 cost capture card. No, just kidding. I am surprised we got through a Scum set and you did not bring that card up.
No, I actually, in regards to the slave quarters or whatever that objective or enhancement is called, I actually really like that it can become refreshed at the end of your turn and you can get some more resources for a price on their heads.
Yeah, I can't wait till we record that game and I get priced on their head again.
I mean, I also like that you can drop a security team with that enhancement, and they only cost 2 instead of 3. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't think this is the worst Scum set. It's not the best, but it's pretty good. I think it's good. I'm excited for it. And Pointy Pursuit.
Kennedy Hawk points out with Pointy Pursuit, man, that was a lot of points, that you can use Tatooine Crash on turn 1 and play Relentless Pursuit right away, and look through your opponent's entire deck.
Yeah, gives you a lot. I mean, gives you all the knowledge you need.
Yeah,
which is never a bad thing. I mean, yeah, and it's only for 1 resource. That's actually solid. Because then you still got we're assuming you've still got 3 resources, maybe 4.
I want to make a joke about Jawas having pointy hoods and then going on a Pointy Pursuit for other things they captured.
Alright, enough bad jokes.
Since FFG sent us these cards, I've been making fun of the point on 3PO's head.
Yeah, I didn't even notice it the first time you sent me the spoilers, and then you're like, I pointed out what I thought about the art, and you're like, look at his pointy head. Yeah. So yeah, the pointy head has been driving me nuts for the last couple days.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the set's solid. I think it's going to see play. It's kind of hard for me to think about a whole lot when, Trust Me, freeloaders, dash, and holding all the cards are just everywhere. It's like, does this stop that? No. Okay, next.
Hopefully, the Jedi set kind of diversifies the meta way more to where it's just not freeholders anymore.
Yeah.
You know, because that really does open up the Jedi a lot.
I mean, it's just we're gonna have a really interesting regional season. Like, is it really just gonna be paper, rock, scissors? Like,
isn't that what Thrones is like, basically?
Is it? I have no idea.
I don't know. I've never played Thrones. Well, no, I take that back. I have played Thrones, but I've never played Thrones competitively. I've only ever played one game.
I mean, this game is so good when you're outplaying the opponent, and it's so bad when the opponent just goes, "Oh, look what I drew." Like,
yeah.
So I hope it doesn't turn into that. I hope there's never a point where I show up to a match and go, "Oh, my opponent brought that. I guess I just auto lose."
Yeah, that would be a disappointing meta if that's the case.
Yeah.
I mean, ideally, you want decks to have a fair shake against every other deck. I mean, it's not always going to be the case, but I mean, that's like ideal. It just seems like right now, and granted, I haven't done extensive testing yet, but it just feels like freeholders holding all the cards in Dash is just kind of, I don't know, like it's just not too strong, but it's just like really strong.
Yeah. I'm not sure. This weekend will be interesting. We have 3 regionals that go off. It'll be very interesting to get deck lists from them. So.
Yeah, that's going to give us a lot of things to talk about next week.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Speaking of, we should probably go ahead and in the chat. But thanks everybody for tuning in. Definitely hope you guys liked the first episode. We're going to be using the same format going forward, but we're going to mix it up occasionally, throwing in some new stuff every once in a while for everybody to enjoy. So.
Yeah.
Lots of conversations, and everything will be relevant because we're going to do it weekly and cover all the hot topics of the week and any other things that we think are worth discussing.
Yep.
Can't have spoilers every week, but there will be more.
We could if FFG wanted to give us spoilers every week.
Well, FFG does want to give us spoilers every week, but they can't give us spoilers every week. So they're going to have to give them to us when they can.
I want them weekly.
We have talked with FFG. They're actually very supportive of the idea of going video with the spoilers. So they're looking forward to see how we did it today, and hopefully we'll have some more for you guys soon. So I would say until next week.
It was a good time.
It was a good. Why do you do that, man? You pause like every time. It's like we're gonna do a sign off. It's like. We're off in the other room when I thought about doing a sign off or something. What's going on there?
It's the dramatic pause, man. You gotta keep them wanting more. Yeah.
It's so true. You do have to keep them wanting more. This is true. So we hope everybody had a good time tuning in, listening, checking out the cast. Hope everybody liked the experience of having it live like this and having the interactions. And hope you guys all hit the subscribe button. And all of our listeners keep checking back in every week. Oh, hold on. Darth Buckets. It seems unlikely that Knowledge and Defense will make it off the boat in April, as the upcoming page says. Yeah, I tend to agree. It will probably not be here in the next 5 hours.
It would need to go shipping like next week to make it for the May 17th regionals.
Yeah, it has to go shipping by the 7th.
So I've been checking it daily. I'm going to continue checking it daily, excluding Saturday and Sunday, of course. But
here's what's interesting. We'll probably have more to say about this next week. But there's only 15 regionals, and I believe 7 of them take place before the end of May.
They do.
So it will be very interesting how this Knowledge and Defense releases.
It's going to release May 16th. Bank on it.
If it doesn't make it out at a certain point in May, I mean, you've already got 3 this weekend. 3 of 7 are not going to be affected by Knowledge.
Yeah, but we've got 2 force packs, so we need some regionals that aren't affected by it. So we can get a little bit of a baseline of what the meta's like.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, we can't have like a crazy regional season where it's like half the cycle's already released. Like we need ease into it. You know,
right.
Let's take your time, but don't take too long. FFG. Every 3 weeks is fine.
All right, everybody.
Yeah.
We're going to sign off. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you guys liked it. And
see you next week.
We'll see you next week, guys.
Later.
Take care.